everyone. Douglas Ducote here. My new book, From Baton Rouge to Baghdad and Back, is available now at Walmart, Amazon, Google, iTunes. Please check it out. I had the opportunity to either write about my 4 combat tours and the horrors of war like everyone else does, or I chose to write about the humorous side of military service. So there are stories about things that I experienced in Operation Desert Storm and Operation Just Cause down in Panama and everything in between. The funny things that I went through and I lived through. The things that require basically a sixth sense of humor to get by. So this is a great gift for anyone that you know that's served in the United States military, as well as those that just like to read things that are funny. My whole purpose was to make you laugh. And if this book, From Baton Rouge to Baghdad and Back, makes you laugh, then it was worth my time and effort in writing it. So please check it out. You can buy the book starting today at Walmart, Amazon, Google, iTunes, and Barnes & Noble. Thank you and God bless. Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places you could be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Whether you're watching us tonight on the YouTube channel, the Rumble channel, the X channel, or over on Facebook, please like, subscribe, share the show, share the videos with your family and friends. Let them know that every now and then, if they have kids in the room, Mr. Doug says 1 or 20 bad words, but other than that, should be good to go. Okay, let's dive right into what's happening. It's just, some of it defies all common sense and knowledge, for crying out loud. The Trump administration is facing yet another far-left liberal Democrat lawsuit. What do you think it's about this time? Oh my gosh, I don't know why they choose this hill to die on. My former party, the Democrat Party, I'm so glad I'm no longer affiliated with them anymore. They are literally stabbing themselves in the chest with a knife over and over and over again. It doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely crazy how sick these people have become. That is the leadership in Washington, D.C. for the Democrat Party. The average everyday Democrat out there that isn't into politics, is just working, trying to put food on the table and take care of their family. They think like Republicans do. They want secure borders. They want law enforcement to clean up our streets. They're okay with our military going after terrorist organizations, especially the terrorist organizations that are cartel members and now been labeled terrorist organizations, bringing fentanyl and things like that into our country. They want to see the sex trafficking, drug trafficking stop coming across the border. They want to be able to take their family, their kids to the park, walk their dog down the street without worrying about being raped or hit over the head or a drunk driver or whatever that's from an illegal alien. They want the same things that we want. But their party up in Washington, D.C., the more we expose them for what they truly are, which is, well, batshit crazy, the more people leave the party. And thankfully, today, more people are leaving the Democrat Party than ever in the history of the Democrat Party. And more people are joining the Republican Party than ever in the history of the Republican Party. Now, that being said, believe it or not, down in Florida, Democrats just won an election in a little bitty freaking area of town that just so happened to have more Democrats in there than they did Republicans. But it's still kind of shocking that was able to happen. And Democrats, obviously, in liberal areas across the country, in blue states, they're going to win, period. But the more we expose the leadership of the Democrat Party, the more your average day Democrat wakes up and says, I don't want no part of that bullshit. Alejandro Omar, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, they don't represent me. Jasmine Crockett, who, by the way, now is running for senator for Texas. That's right. Jasmine Ghetto Crockett wants to be a senator for Texas. Texas, if you vote this woman in as your senator, it's over with. Lose Texas, we lose the country. Better wake up, Texas. Better start listening to what that woman's got coming out of her mouth. Okay, anyhow, so this lawsuit gets filed today by the far left liberal Democrats. This one seeking to immediately release a memo providing the legal justification for the U.S. military striking cartel, labeled terrorists now, drug boats. That's right. You could not make this shit up if you tried. The lawsuit was filed by the American Civil Liberties Union, partnered with the American Civil Liberties Union Foundation and the Center for Constitutional Rights. The Department of Justice, including its Office of Legal Counsel, Department of State, and the Department of War, are listed as defendants. In the lawsuit, the ACLU, which noted the action was being taken under the Freedom of Information Act, said it was seeking the immediate release of a legal opinion authorized by the Office of Legal Counsel, a component of the Department of Justice, concerning the U.S. military's claimed authority to carry out the lethal strikes on civilians in boats that the U.S. government asserts they are carrying drugs. Remember the game we played as kids called Battleship? We need one titled Cartel Boats. Boom, I suck your cartel boat. Yeah, it's getting pretty silly, isn't it? The organization claims that in October, the plaintiffs submitted identical Freedom of Information Act claim or requests to the Trump administration, requesting various records, but have not received any documents. The ACLU argued that the release of the information was critically important to ensuring informed public database about the U.S. military's unprecedented strikes, which it says were carried out in clear violation of domestic and international laws. On September 2nd, the Trump administration carried out the first publicly acknowledged strike on a suspected drug boat in the Caribbean Sea by cartel members organization groups that have been labeled as terrorist. The strike has since become controversial due to a second missile strike that was shot at the boat, killing the only 2 survivors of the initial hit. War Secretary Pete Hegseth said that it took a couple of weeks, almost a month, to build the intelligence required to make damn sure that these boats were, in fact, taking drugs and bringing them to America. Our intelligence community, our CIA, working with those in Venezuela, found the labs, found where they're making the drugs, verified they're being put in trucks, verified they're being taken to a port, verified that's the same stuff that left where they're being made and loaded onto these boats, then taken out to sea, heading eventually to America. So we're taking them out once they leave the coast. They're terrorist organizations now. The cartels have been labeled as terrorist organizations. Those gangs, cartel gangs, are now terrorists. Just like Middle Eastern terrorists. Doesn't matter. Hegseth said the Pentagon had to go back and assess, had been focused 10,000 miles, take those that have been focused 10,000 miles around on the other side of the world for a very long time, to come down and understand exactly, to make sure, to cross all the T's, dot all the I's, before we start sinking these boats, that yes, indeed, these are drugs on board being made and produced to come to America to kill Americans, and they're cartel terrorists on board the boats. The Civil Liberties Organization states in the lawsuit that the U.S. military may not kill civilians who are merely suspected of drug smuggling, noting that non-lethal measures must be taken first. In the lawsuit, the ACLU requested the court order the defendants to carry out a full, adequate, and thorough search of all responsive records and to immediately process and release them. So let me get this straight. They're calling drug cartel terrorist, officially designated by the State Department as a terrorist organization, innocent civilians. The boats are only suspected to be carrying drugs? Suspected to be carrying drugs? We made it pretty clear the intel that went into this. And basically, our military does not have the authority to kill these people that are responsible for killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. That liberal ideology is sick. The ACU would prefer for the cartels to continue bringing in millions of pounds of illegal drugs such as fentanyl to kill more American citizens. I don't get it. ACLU, why don't you go back and look at the Reagan years, for instance, and what we were doing down in Central and South America. I can tell you firsthand about it because I was down there. We were taking these motherfuckers out every chance we got. We come back to that in a minute, but moving on. Oh my gosh. Radical Islamic Muslim mayor-elect of New York, Zohran Mamdani, has chosen a formerly incarcerated rapper to serve on a City Hall transition team as he prepares to take office in New York come January 1st. Controversial selection comes as Mamdani, who won November's election on a progressive platform, assembles his transition team. Mamdani's appointment of Masani Lenin, 49, was announced in a November 26 Instagram post from Until Freedom, a New York City-based social justice organization where Lenin is a leader. Lennon is featured in the social media post alongside Tamilka Mulroney and Angelio Pinto. We're proud that United Freedom leaders have been chosen to serve on Mayor-elect Mamdani's transition team on committees for people and public safety and criminal justice, respectively, the post reads. This is a testament to our decades of work advocating on behalf of Black and brown communities and our expertise in gun violence prevention. No, this is not a Saturday Night Live skit. Legislative advocacy and criminal justice reform. We're building something different. Over the years, Lennon has built a public presence as a community activist, frequently posting about anti-violent initiatives and civil engagement, and promoting his involvement with Until Freedom. According to past posts, Lennon, a Bronx native who was once assigned to a Def Jam, was convicted of 2 felony robberies in late 1990s. In 1999, a Bronx jury said to have found him guilty in 2 armed robberies of a taxi drivers, per the New York Times Daily News. Prosecutors said Lennon was part of a group that robbed cab driver Joseph Extray on June 8, 1997, striking him with a beer bottle, and later held up a cab near Fresco at gunpoint on March 31st of 1998, stealing cash and a ring from him before fleeing. Both of the cabbies testified and identified Lennon as the one who robbed them. New York Daily's News reported that Lennon's defense argued he had no reason to commit the crimes because he was earning money writing songs for artists such as Lil' Kim and Massey. And his music was slated to appear on the All-Star album featuring LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes, and Q-Tip. He faced up to 25 years in prison and ultimately only served 7 years. Lennon maintained at the time that he had been falsely accused. The Until Freedom website, where Lennon holds a leadership post, describes the group as a definite, defined nonprofit organization for community activists, education, and rapid response to tragedies resulting in injustice. It states, we're not asking for a donation, we're asking for your investment. An investment in a moment worthy of the most marginalized people, the criminals. The appeal is followed by several payment options, including Cash App and Venmo. Mamdani's decision to place Lennon on committees that shape the city's public safety visions prompt backlash. The group Jews Fight Back wrote on X, Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani just appointed a convicted armed robber to help shape New York's crime and policing policies, calling the move insane. Lennon reiterated a phrase he has used in recent speeches to crisis and intervention groups, also posted again this week on Instagram. We are building something together. Isn't that sweet? There are things, literally, that make you go, what the fuck did I just hear? I mean, it's bad enough that these Democrats in New York City voted for this radical Islamic Muslim terror sympathizer who hates Jews and wants to see the Jewish leader arrested and charged with war crimes. But he's bringing on felons that committed serious crimes, assault and battery and robberies on his team. There's no way you could make this shit up. You just couldn't. All right. Speaking of things that you couldn't make up if you tried, you're going to love this. My friends, you know who that is? Anybody in chat know who that is? Even if I tell you his name, you probably don't know who he is. His name is Martin O'Malley. Yesterday, Fox News, not CNN, not MSNBC, or any liberal rag, Fox News allowed Martin O'Malley to write an opinion piece that they put up on their website titled, "Trump Broke His Promise to Protect a Lifeline of 71 Million Americans. President's Campaign Vows Clash with Reality as Agency Suffers Worst Staffing Cuts in 90-Year History." So first, who is Martin O'Malley? I would think that Fox News knows who he is. Wouldn't you? Just in case they don't, or you don't, let me tell you who he is. Martin O'Malley was first elected to the Baltimore City Council in 1991 as a Democrat and reelected in 1995. He was then elected as a Democrat mayor of Baltimore in 1999 after a surprise win in a Democratic primary. He won a second term as mayor in 2004. Then, in 2006, he became the Democrat governor for the state of Maryland. As governor, he signed a law that would make illegal immigrants brought to the United States as children eligible for in-state college tuition. In July of 2023, President Joe Biden nominated O'Malley to lead the Social Security Administration. He was confirmed by the United States Senate on December 18th of 2023. In November 2024, realizing that it was over with for the Biden administration, O'Malley announced that he would run for chair of the Democrat National Committee in 2025, seeking to succeed Jamie Harrison, but he was defeated by Minnesota Democrat, former Labor Party Chair Ken Martin. O'Malley supports taking away your AR-15s, AK-47s, any scary black-colored rifle, high-capacity magazines. He supports illegal immigrants, open borders, and he supports women to have abortion from the time they realize they're pregnant all the way up into including delivery. That's who Fox News, it's up on their website right now, still, allowed to write this hit piece against the Trump administration. For Social Security, it's been a miserable year after President Donald Trump unleashed Elon Musk and Doge on the Social Security Administration. The agency lost more staff in a shorter period of time than ever before in its 90-year history. Fortunately, public outcry and pushback from congressional Democrats saved Social Security from a 50% cut to staff and the closure of scores of field offices as Trump and his administration have announced back in March. Now, let me stop right there. Who in the hell at Fox News was responsible for verifying that what was going to be in this opinion piece is facts or fiction? Fire them. At no point did Doge set out to cut the Social Security staff by 50%. They got rid of people that were basically useless. Not the people taking care of your Social Security and making sure you got your check. They cut out fraud, waste, and abuse people being able to get Social Security that weren't qualified to get Social Security, or receiving Social Security checks from dead people, dead relatives. Moving on. So somehow, those dedicated workers remained at the Social Security Administration have still managed to keep the agency running without missing a single monthly payment benefit. There are not many private insurers in the world who can claim to never have missed a monthly payment plan in 90 years. This is good news for the 71 million Americans, many of whom depend on their earned benefit every month as a lifeline. But we are not out of the woods yet. The agency has been gutted. Enormous damage has been done to customer service and to the agency's ability to process claims. Just as many are demanding that Trump's deep cuts to health care be restored, so too must Trump deep cuts to Social Security be restored, as the two are interacted and linked. 64 million Medicare recipients will see a reduction in their Social Security benefits in 2026 due to Trump's Medicare price hikes that will cut into their Social Security cost of living adjustment, COLA, making life more expensive for seniors. That is a blatant lie. This is the greatest erosion of Social Security COLA in nearly a decade, and the first time that Medicare premiums exceeded $200 per month. And that's because of why? Oh, let me think, O'Malley. The Democrat plan for Obamacare that they pushed and then put in there for it to expire at the end of 2025? That's why the price is going up. And Trump shut that shit down because of the illegal aliens that were getting Medicare or Medicaid. With Social Security Administration staffing now reduced to a 60-year low and baby boomers swelling the number of active beneficiaries to an all-time high, the agency is struggling badly and the American people are paying the price. Wait times to get a person in a field office or to talk to a person on the 1-800 line has become longer and longer. As the Trump administration claims that things have never been better, millions of Americans are having a very difficult experience. Really? I know plenty of people on Social Security. I know plenty of people that deal with Social Security a lot. I know people that work for Social Security. And O'Malley, you're a liar. And Fox News knows that you're lying. Goes on to say, in fact, more people today now die waiting in line for initial disability determination than at any time since President Dwight Eisenhower signed the disability portion of Act into law in 1956. Even just recently, Trump and Doge risked 300 million Americans' personal data from the Social Security Administration. They have robbed Americans of customer service and peace of mind. Conditions have grown so bad, Nancy Altman, president of the Social Security Works, has called for Social Security Commissioner Frank Bezzinglow to resignation. It proves to be a telling illustration of the deep concern experts have for the damage done to the agency. None of this had to happen. It was made to happen. As a candidate, Trump vowed all through the campaign that he would protect Social Security. Instead, he wrecked the program and consumer and customer services through a chainsaw, took a chainsaw to its functions and its reputation with false claims of waste, fraud, and abuse. If this guy was Pinocchio, that'd be a fucking tree log off the front of his ugly ass face. In a time of great political division, Social Security remains the most strongly supported program in America. In fact, 80% of Americans are concerned whether Social Security will be available when they retire and want it to get straightened out, made better, not hacked into pieces, prioritized, or liquidated. This is a democracy moment. Social Security should be a bipartisan issue. All lawmakers, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents alike, need to come together to deliver on its promise for a secure retirement after a lifetime of hard work. I would expect, seriously, for CNN or MSNBC to allow that piece of shit to write an opinion piece and literally frighten senior citizens. Because that's what liberal Democrats in Washington, D.C. have been doing for quite some time now. And yes, I know, just like you do, that Fox News has really taken a horrible left turn in recent years. It's getting worse, obviously, by what I just read to you. They allowed that man, that anti-Trumper, anti-MAGA, anti-Republican, anti-conservative, liberal, Democrat piece of crap to write an opinion hit piece lying about what the Trump administration and DOJ was doing with Social Security. Fox News did that. And I checked about 30 minutes before coming on the air tonight, and that piece is still on their website. So not only were Democrat senior citizens freaking out over what the Democrats were saying on CNN, MSNBC, and ABC, and CBS, and NBC, and all the liberal rags, but now Republican and conservatives that go to Fox News for their information are going to believe this shit because it was on Fox News. Yeah, you're right. You are right. Now, one of my moderators, John, shared something with me today, and I didn't know about this. He lives up in Vermont, and it was in the Vermont newspaper on their local news, Vermont's social media websites. And I'm going to share this with you. It's going to probably upset you like it did me. And, well, Fox News is carrying it as well. Right before I came on the air and went to look at this other stuff to see if it was still up there. This is there. That's how I found out that Fox News is carrying this story. A video circulating widely on social media today has ignited online controversy after showing what appears to be, and it shouldn't say appeared because it is, staff and students at Vermont Public School, Vermont, America, raising the flag of Somalia during what appeared to be a ceremonial event. The footage was shared on X by the account Lives at TikTok. The popular conservative commentary page, known for highlighting cultural and educational issues, posted the 8-second clip this morning, amassing over 6,000 likes, 2,500 reposts, and 130,000 views within the first hours that it was up. Since then, it's went way past that. We're in the millions now. The post quickly drew polarized reactions, with supporters praising it as a gesture of inclusivity towards the district's diverse student body, while critics declared it as an inappropriate display of a foreign flag on U.S. soil, calling for federal funding cuts and questioning about citizenship loyalties. Now, I'm sure I'm going to butcher this school district name. I'll spell it for you first. It's Winoski, Winskia School District, also posted about the event on their Facebook page, writing, "We are raising the Somali flag this week in honor of our Somali youth and families in Winskia and Vermont. On Monday, we will be gathering to celebrate together and to learn more about our civil rights." Response to the post were mixed, as you can imagine. "Very proud to be an alumni of this wonderful school district," said one person. "We're in very dark times," said another. "Back in my day," writes one, "when migrants came to America for a better life, they chose to become American. They wanted to be here, wanted to be American, so they learned English. They worked hard to assimilate into our society. They didn't hate America. They didn't want to change it, to link it to the country that they left. Migrants didn't expect us to cow to them. My, how times have changed. Can't wait for the next 9/11. The event took place at the school district in front of the school, small city just east of Burlington, with a population of around 8,000 people. Winskia is notable for its significant Somali immigrant community. According to recent U.S. Census data, the city has one of the highest concentrations of Somali residents in the nation, compressing about 15 to 20% of its population, thanks to Barack Hussein Obama, who put them there. This demographic has shaped local incentives, including multi-lingual education programs and cultural celebrations at schools like JFK Elementary and their local high school, which serves over 1,200 students, more than 40 countries. The district has declared themselves a sanctuary school district in defiance of ICE and federal law. For those wishing to voice their concern, the school district can be contacted at 802-655-0485. I'll repeat that. You can reach out to the school district at 802-655-0485, or you can send them an email from their website, which is wsdvt.org. wsdvt.org. You know what to do, patriots. Just keep it civil and don't make threats. That's the Somali flag that they put up, flying next to our American flag. And here's the video. I know. I know. Let's go back to ICE again. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is warning that Illinois officials are releasing violent, criminal, illegal aliens despite active immigration detainers, a move the agency says is putting the public at risk. In the letter shared with all the news media, Todd Lyons, ICE senior official performing the duties of director, said Illinois has tens of thousands of criminal illegal aliens in custody. Individuals who, He noted had committed crimes ranging from murder and rape to child pornography and armed robbery. Lyons said these offenders should be swiftly removed from the United States and not be returned to our streets to wreak more havoc on law-abiding citizens. According to the data provided by ICE, Illinois has released 1,768 criminal aliens with active detainers since January of 2025. In other words, ICE knew they were about their time's fixing to be served and they're going to be let out. ICE sends them a detainer and says, hold them when their time's up. We want to come to the jail where it's safe to get them, put them in handcuffs, and deport them. Don't let them back out on the street where they can go get with their other gang members or whatever and then get guns and what have you, and now our law enforcement lives are put in danger to go get these criminals. I said the crimes tied to those offenders include homicide, assaults, burglary, weapon offenses, and sexual predator crimes. The agency also said another 4,015 criminal aliens were pending detainers remain in state and local custodies, including individuals linked to 51 homicides and more than 800 sexual predatory offenses against women and children. ICE provided a list of some of the detainers that were not honored required federal law enforcement to track them down. Some of the criminals also consisted of aggravated kidnapping, drug trafficking, sexual assault, child abduction, predatory criminal sexual assault on a child, attempted murder, and aggravated kidnapping. Some of the offenders were later rearrested or removed from the United States by ICE, thankfully. Lyons cautioned that Illinois' ongoing refusal to honor immigration detainers plainly jeopardizes public safety. Not only the public, but the law enforcement officers who now need to go track them down and find them, instead of just allowing ICE to go to the jail and take them in a safe environment. And asked if the state intends to change course or continue releasing violent offenders who may otherwise walk the streets of Illinois again. When asked about ICE letter, the Illinois Attorney General's office disputed the characterization that it had failed to respond. To say the Attorney General's office did not respond is patently false. Not only did we respond, but we initially attempted to hand deliver our response and were rebuffed. Anna Thompson, Senior Press Secretary for Attorney General Kawan Walol, said, referring to a letter sent to Lyons, we then overnighted our response to ensure delivery and have heard nothing more from DHS. Thomas said the Attorney General's office has historically cooperated with federal authorities to protect Illinoisans from gun and drug traffickers, child predators, scammers, and more. In fact, we are prosecuting many cases referred to our office by these agencies, or they have arrested out of collaborative investigations, Thompson said. We look forward to continue that work to enhance public safety. So I guess that ICE and Department of Homeland Security is just making this shit up.
The elected leaders in this state of Illinois are ignoring the law. In fact, they're being obstructionists when it comes to getting dangerous criminals off of their streets. They are deciding that dangerous criminals that are murderers, rapists, money launderers, have committed assault, that are trafficking children, are more important than the families that live in the communities here. That includes Governor Pritzker, Mayor Johnson, and others who have worked so hard to protect these dangerous criminals. They'd rather be a sanctuary state and continue to put those individuals above American citizens who built this country, who've raised their families here for generations and just want to be able to walk down the street safely at night and put their kids to bed and live a peaceful life. Today I'm highlighting 4 different examples of individuals that we've recently arrested here out of this office with the good work of ICE and our HSI officers that we've taken off the streets without the help of the governor or the mayor. Our federal officers have had to do this alone without their support, and these dangerous individuals are now no longer victimizing people because of the good work that we do. Hector Bonaparte is a 42-year-old illegal Mexican alien who had previously been convicted of predatory sexual criminal assault against a victim under the age of 13. We have Jarvin Flores Santos, who's a 40-year-old Honduras individual who was arrested back in 2020 the first time for aggravated criminal sexual abuse and attempted criminal sexual abuse of a minor under the age of 13 again. And Waldemar Jabik, a Polish citizen who had been convicted in 2014 for attempted murder and then also aggravated domestic battery. He was convicted of these after he stabbed his own wife and his 19-year-old daughter. It was not the first time that police have been called to his house for domestic disturbance, but he was never held accountable until recently by these federal officers. Don Gay Silas, a 33-year-old illegal alien from Micronesia, has had 3 DUI convictions, and as well as convictions of criminal mischief, of wanton endangerment, and driving without a license. These individuals would still be out on our streets today, committing crimes and attacking people and harming them and hurting our children if Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson had their way, because their choice has been routinely over and over and over again to release these criminals back on the streets. The debate over so-called sanctuary policies has real consequences. It has consequences for our law enforcement officers, but also for the families that live here and the businesses that are just trying to provide for their community. Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson are answering that question every single day of who should be our priority, who should be our responsibility, and over again, they're choosing criminals. In just the last 7 months, ICE has issued over 1,664 detainers in Chicago alone. 1,664 detainers we have lodged against violent criminals, and that is a 106% increase over what was issued during the Biden administration. Unfortunately, Chicago and its leadership has only honored 8% of those. That means every other person, when they're released from paying for the consequences of their crimes, back onto our streets without any notification to individuals or to the families that have been victimized by them. By getting those 8% at least off of the street, the brave men and women of ICE are saving American lives.
So here's my question. It is against the law in America. It's a federal crime to harbor knowingly illegal aliens. So if this is actually happening, why is the governor and the mayor and the police chief not in handcuffs? Not just there, but in any of these cities, they're controlled by Democrats. They claim they're sanctuary cities. When are we going to start seeing arrest? Because that's the only way it stops. They've already, on purpose, put a target on the backs of every ICE agency, all ICE agents, deputy sheriffs, city police officers, state troopers. There's a war against law enforcement perpetrated by the Democrats in Washington, D.C. and their far-left liberal pundits. Why don't we see them being held accountable? And that goes to the members of Congress that are doing it too. They're inciting violence against law enforcement officers or against our National Guard members. Why are they not being arrested? You should be contacting your representatives and demanding that they do something to make these agencies stand up to this bullshit and stop it. Otherwise, what good does it do to have Republicans take back control of shit if you're not going to clean the crap up? And finally tonight, a divided federal appeals court today allowed the Pentagon to temporarily enforce its revived ban on transgender military service members. Ruling the lower court improperly blocked the Trump administration's 2025 policy. The decision marks a major development in one of the most closely watched military policy cases in our country. 2-1 ruling from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit says a district court's preliminary injunction and permits the Trump administration to continue enforcing the restrictions while this continues in the court system. Today's victory is a great win for the security of the American people, White House spokeswoman Anna Kelly said. As Commander-in-Chief, President Trump has the executive authority to ensure their Department of War prioritizes military readiness over woke gender ideology. Judge Gregory Kakis and Naomi Ryo, man, these freaking names, writing for the majority, said the district court wrongly substituted its own judgment for that of Pentagon leadership. The United States military enforces strict medical standards to ensure that only physical and mentally fit individuals join its ranks. For decades, these requirements barred service by individuals with gender dysphoria, a medical condition associated with clinically significant distress, the majority wrote. District Court, nonetheless, preliminary injunctions, the 2025 policy based on its own contrary assessment of the evidence. In our view, the court afforded insufficient differences to the Secretary Hesketh considered judgment. Accordingly, we stay the preliminary injunction pending the government's appeal. The 2025 policy, enacted under President Donald Trump and Secretary of War Pete Hesketh, generally bars individuals with gender dysphoria from serving United States Armed Forces. The court noted. Accordingly, the majority opinion, the Pentagon concluded the policy would advance important military interests in combat readiness, unit cohesion, and cost control. Judge Patricia Pollard issued a sharp dissent, accusing the Trump administration of failing to justify the renewed ban and arguing that the motives behind it were impermissible. There may well be a valid reason to re-examine or alter military service policies set by previous administrations, but on this record, one cannot tell, Pollard wrote. Defendants provide no evidence that they based their new policy on the assessment of costs, benefits, or any other factor legitimately barring military necessity. Indeed, there is no evidence that President Trump or Secretary Hesketh consulted with uniformed military leaders before imposing their unprecedented ban on transgender service members. I served in the military in a complete and utterly different era. When men were men and women were women. And now Trump's having to come in and clean up a fucking clown show, a circus that's been allowed to infiltrate our military ranks. Pollard said the administration's approach reflects animus from the start, pointing to President Trump's January 27th Executive Order 14183 for prioritizing military excellence and readiness issued in February. In that order, Trump declared it the policy of the United States that adoption of a gender identity inconsistent with individual sex conflicts with a soldier's commitment of an honorable, truthful, and disciplined lifestyle, even in one's personal life. Aren't you special? The order also claimed that openly identifying as transgender is not consistent with the humanity and selflessness required of service members has directed Heslef to develop policies within 60 days. The policy on transgender service has shifted repeatedly over the past decade. Restrictions were relaxed in 2016, tightened in 2018, relaxed again in 2021, reinstated in 2025, the court noted. And so you know what happened on those dates, right? When Democrats take control, they're okay with this shit. Republicans come in and clean up this fucking mess. District Court halted the latest version earlier this year, prompting the Pentagon's successful appeal to stay. Case now returns to the District Court for full consideration and is expected to continue moving with appeals until it finally reaches the Supreme Court, which will side with the Trump administration. Get them the fuck out. I'm sorry. I don't care what you do in your private life. Neither does Donald Trump, neither does anybody in the military. If you're a guy in your private life and you want to wear a dress and put on makeup and lipstick and wear pumps and fucking panties, we don't care. But we do care about it out in public in our face and in the ranks of our military. And it's for your own protection. Because if you get captured on a battlefield in an Islamic war, like we've been fighting for quite some time now, they're going to chop that thing off for you. You ain't got to worry about the military paying for surgery for a sex change operation. And then they're going to shove it down your fucking throat. Because they don't play that shit. This is serious crap here that the liberal Democrats are okay with. This doesn't need to be in our military. What you do is your business. But flaunting it out in public, as they've so often done, for instance, just look at that. That's obvious to anybody that looks at it what they're looking at. A girl that wants to be called a guy, or a guy that wants to be called a girl, wearing our uniform. Look at it. FYI, we will not be doing a show on Thursday night because we will be going out of town for a family Christmas gathering for our grandchild, who's going to be in his first Christmas play. So we want to go attend that. So no show on Thursday. We'll be back next Tuesday. I hope you will join us. The book, Baton Rouge to Baghdad and Back, the humorous side of military service that I lived through, is available now. I suggest if you're going to buy it from Barnes & Noble or Walmart or many of the other retailers that are out there, not Amazon. Amazon has gone to shit. And it's affecting right now all publishers, all publishing companies, all books. Randomly, people are putting in to order a book on Amazon and getting a pop-up that says it can't be delivered to your address that you put in. They know the glitch is there, and they've yet to do anything about it. It's been going on for 3 weeks now. Sometimes it goes through for many people. Often you get the pop-up. Every day I go on to see what's going on at Amazon, and I put in my own title, my own book, and my own address. Sometimes it doesn't block it. Other times pops up and says not available to be delivered to your address. And it's not just my book. It's not just my publisher, it's all publishers. Amazon has this problem right now. They are a company that's set to make over $700 billion by the time this year's up. They're already at 690 something billion right now. And you want to tell me that they can't get an IT person to fix this glitch right before the holiday seasons? I don't get it. Just like their drone issue they have where they're delivering packages by drones and they're flying into power lines and crashing into people's cars or their houses. It's a matter of time before somebody gets hurt or a child gets hit by a freaking drone delivering a package. That's Amazon. So personally, just stay away from them. But this book can be ordered. You just type in the title of the book and you'll see all the different retailers. Barnes & Noble is my suggestion, which is also where when we start the book tour in January, hope you will join us. We'll be announcing where we're going to be at. For you to come out there, get your own personal copy signed by me. I can meet you in person, shake your hand, be at Barnes & Noble's. And I don't have an issue with Barnes & Noble. Their website seems to be working perfectly fine. And when there is a glitch, they get the shit fixed. For whatever reason, Amazon hasn't been able to do that yet. I just can't wrap my head around it. But all publishing companies right now, book publishing companies, are pissed off at Amazon. I don't know. Anyhow, you had me a pleasure to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Whether you're watching us tonight on the YouTube channel, the Rumble channel, the X channel, the Facebook page, please like, subscribe, tell your friends and family about the show. And I will see you back here next week on Tuesday for another live broadcast of the Douglas Ducote Show. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families in our country. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful and blessed evening, my friends. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Good night.